All right. Good morning, Panther fans. Can I go back to bed now?
Yeah, who's dragging it?
Jeez. Who's
All right, listen, with a
Yeah.
show of hands, everybody's got to be honest on this one, okay?
Uh-huh.
With a show of hands,
Uh-huh.
how many Panther fans thought we were going to get blown out last night or at least lose the game?
Uh. Fluffy farted. So does that count?
So, good morning, Florida Panther fans. Welcome to
You know, I
Flying
got
Fluffy Hockey, the number one Panther fan podcast in the world. We're super psyched because we got 2 points last night.
I got a nose too, because I'm the one that woke up at 6:30. I just woke his ass up with a phone call 20 minutes ago. What can you send me some of what you're smoking? Because how the hell are you so awake?
It's showtime, baby. When the camera's rolling, you got to be up and wait. Yeah, I
Yeah,
was actually,
he was out.
I don't even know what time I fell asleep with the TV on and whatnot, but yeah, it was late. And
Yeah,
Eric rarely calls me. And
yeah,
I don't set, I usually don't set my alarm on the weekends. Just goes off,
yeah,
7 o'clock on the weekdays, and I'm usually up anyway.
yeah.
But for some reason, I get a call at 20 to 8, and wow,
He told me to call him if he
Eric.
wasn't.
I'm like, I'm honored. Because Eric's a text man. He doesn't
Yeah,
call.
yeah.
He doesn't like talking on the phone.
If
But
look,
anyway,
if I'm busy and the caller ID says Daryl Hall, I still might be like, I'll let him leave a voicemail. I just I don't. Well, part of it's because of the migraines. If I talk on the phone too much, it'll trigger the migraine. It's the whole long story.
and Eric gave me the option. He said, "Man, we could do it at 9 o'clock," and I said, "No, I'd rather stay on schedule. But if you
Right,
insist." But
right,
anyway,
yeah.
here we are,
So here
dedicated
we
as
are. Yeah,
always. Eric Jaws is the man. So anyway, I want to just during the evening
yeah, yeah.
with the texting with Billy. So at the end of things, I think this might have been before. Well, the boys are working hard tonight, Billy. I don't know what Edmonton was thinking that last minute. All right, this is after the first period
Yeah.
when Edmonton had like a total brain fart and forgot that there was a minute left in the period.
Yeah.
And we scored another goal, which was very smart of us, by the way. That last minute reminds me of the goal the Miracle on Ice team scored against Russia. Got to play all 20 minutes of the period, right? Happy that Montour finally got his first. And what can you say about Bob? Key save so far, so good. But this 40 minutes left, got to keep on the gas. So 7:43 this morning, Billy replied and said, "Told you this was a game to pay attention to. Going against a red hot team on hockey night in Canada, any good team would be ready to go. Nice bounce back win."
Yeah.
So that says it all. Nice bounce back win. And we got to remember, Mr. Panther says, what did he say? Look at the
Look at
total
the
picture, Lindsay. That's
yeah.
it.
Yeah. He's yeah. Good morning, Jackson. By the way, we somebody's actually awake. Yeah, I know. I thought about it. I thought what Billy said about the Oilers game was the game to pay attention to. Um, Now I ain't gonna rain on nobody's parade because the team played well last night. But everybody by the show of hands who's willing to be honest and say Bubba stole that game, raise your hand. Okay, I mean he said not that he. I mean what Bob is turning into. Knock on wood. Remember all the years I would say when Vasilevsky says that's enough, that's it. We're seeing that with Bob now.
That's exactly what happened last night.
Yep.
He was embarrassed by the last
Yeah.
couple of games.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Yep.
So
Yeah, for sure.
he
I
made
mean,
some
those would
mistakes.
definitely shut the door saves that he didn't make the game
Right.
before.
Right.
In
Right.
fact, didn't Randy or maybe I don't know if it was Randy or goalie that said that Vancouver scored at the same time of the period that previous game on a similar type of shot.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can't go. without saying, number one star of that game was
Yeah.
Bob.
And the penalty shot, because I mean, you don't want to give them life. You rarely see. We had a couple of rare ones last night because you don't get a lot of penalty shots. And then we get the power play because the dude high sticked. Who did he high stick? Who was it?
Rodriguez.
Rodriguez, right? But he only high sticked him because Barkov grabbed him and twirled him around like a rag doll.
Yeah.
But we end up with the 2-minute power play out of that. It's kind of funny. I'm sure Rodriguez didn't think it was so funny though.
Yeah, Rodriguez ain't laughing. He looked like he got smacked pretty good.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, on that penalty shot, that's more Gagne screwing up than Bob making a save.
Yeah.
Gagne was like with the McDavid penalty shot in the game here.
Yeah.
McDavid knew exactly what he was going to do and executed it perfect. And, Gagne did, like, you could see before he, like, was waiting for the signal to go, like, go off and run. He was like, he was thinking in his head, what am I going to do? And you know what? By the time he was skating down, he still didn't know what to do.
Yeah. I wonder what Maurice said too. To get for Cousin, because we had the unsportsmanlike conduct, the bench penalty there. I wonder what Maurice said. I assume it was Maurice.
They said it was Cousins.
Well, he served the penalty. Was he? But
they said it was Cousins.
They said it was Cousins that said something?
Yeah. I mean, listen, it was a Hockey Night in Canada, Saturday night, Edmonton. Way to get back in the game. That was no penalty shot. Well, how many times we've seen worse with us on breakaways, and they call a hooking.
Randy said, because I kind of waited to hear what, and Randy was saying that it was a clear. He agreed with the call. We'll put it that way. So, it wasn't a close game at that point. So I wasn't, and it was late too, man. You know what I mean? It was like, all right, let's just finish this game off, But we talked about this before, and I brought it up in the recap and everything. And it ain't never gonna happen. But I'm telling you, when Lundell comes back, put him up on the wing next to Barkov and leave Stenlin at 3C. And that solves our top 9.
I don't know.
No?
I don't know. I told you that, I don't know, was it the game before, about this third line with Stenlin and whatever. I demote Lundell. I demote Lundell to the fourth line to motivate him to bring it, like Billy was talking about, to get better and to bring it and earn that spot back.
I disagree.
Okay. I also said to you before, and I texted it to you last night, before Eggplant and Montour came back, to leave Forsling and Larson alone.
Yeah. We agreed
and move Ekblad down to the third pair, but couldn't do it because it's Aaron Ekblad. And you know what? I'm really sorry the guy's hurt. Maybe he can stay on LTIR for the rest of the season. Because we're much better. That's a much better pairing.
Yes,
you could just see it. And look, Montour came alive last night.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to see Josh Mahura back.
Yeah, well, they sent Balinskis down, so
okay.
At least there's only the one extra guy sitting there. But
well, I like the pairings as they are right now.
Yeah. I don't, no disagreement there. But back to the Lundell thing. The reason why I say this is because Lundell's always done well with Barkov, and you take him out of that center role where he's got all that defensive responsibility. You put him on the wing and just let him play hockey, even if it's not a permanent move. Just let him play some offensive hockey. Barkov's got the defense, and
all right,
you go Lundell, Barkov, Reinhart,
Verhaeghe,
Bennett, Tkachuk. Stenlin, Lusterinen, and Rodriguez, and now you've got
Yeah.
Cousins out of your top 9.
Okay.
That's what I would like, but
Listen,
Paul Maurice ain't never going to do
I
it.
agree with you. I agree with you. You do remember that I'm the one before Lundell had ever played wing. I'm the one that said put Lundell with Barkov. Remember a year or so ago?
Yeah. No,
So yeah, I go for that. We
Look,
got to get this. We got to get this kid going.
and that's what we had to do with Trocheck. He would flip back and forth, center, forward, center, forward. When he'd start struggling at center, they'd move him to forward. And then when his game pick up, they put him back to center.
But I like that because of the also you got the Lundell Barkov connection, but you also have the Lundell Reinhardt connection.
Right.
There's good chemistry with those two guys. So yeah, I agree. Coach, if you're listening,
he's going to do the opposite if he's listening. That's for damn
yeah,
sure.
if you're listening, obviously, let's try it out and see how it goes. But that's a big one last night.
Yeah, no,
real big one last night. I mean, Edmonton had won 9 in a row. They lost to Tampa the game before. I was surprised to see Calvin Pickett in the net because we kind of sort of blasted him last game.
Yeah, well,
and
I guess the other guy played against Tampa and he got blasted too. So
yeah, well, we shut down McDavid pretty much. I mean, other than that one defensive lapse with Hyman scoring, which was just a McDavid. I mean, again, guys, go and watch the replay and see this kid going 90 miles an hour, and then he just stops on a dime, fakes out whoever was covering him, spins, dishes it off, bang, bang in the net. I mean, that's Connor McDavid. But we shut down Draisaitl.
Right.
We shut down Evander Kane. Okay. And we weren't even – the game wasn't that physical. There wasn't a lot of nastiness in that
what's
game
his name?
Night.
Who's the – not it wasn't Kane. It was the other guy that was running around hitting people because there was no –
Darnell Nurse?
Yeah, Nurse was getting frisky with a bunch of people. And Gadjevic's sick, so he's not on the ice. You notice – I mean, that's why Zito went out and got him. And we had talked about that earlier on. When Gadjevich is in the lineup, teams ain't doing that. You know,
Darnell Nurse is a big guy. I made the point. The twin, the Redwoods, him and Desjardins.
Yeah.
Two big mooses.
Yeah.
But so now, of course, we're looking at Carter Verhaeghe as our number one, our MVP of the year so far, bringing it every game. Goldie made a point of saying, out of all the players at the Vancouver game, Verhaeghe was the one that was, still bringing it, 100% effort.
Right.
You always want to put Lundberg in that category, but wow, Swaggy is a true sniper.
Yep.
That second goal,
I know.
We had that 3-on-1 that I thought we had blown.
Yep.
And then he also does the stop on a dime, let the defenseman blow by him, and then now, I think what caused that goal more than anything was, and I don't know if it was Kachuk, but somebody flew right in front of Pickard at the last minute. Yeah. And as soon as took his eyes off the puck for a second, and it was in the net before he could react. If you watch the replay, you'll see that because he went right side, so he went short side. Yeah, he loves that.
But that's the thing, man. I mean, when you've got that kind of accuracy, you can do that. You know what I mean? It's like I love Kachuk, but he got that one break, and now there was a defenseman coming over from the side, so I kind of think Chucky didn't think he had enough time to slide over in front of the net and make a move. They need slap shots here right into the goalie.
Yeah, I said to you, what? Yeah,
right.
A slap shot 10 feet out? You hardly ever see that on a breakaway or, a shootout.
Yeah.
I don't know what he was thinking, but you're right. But that would have been a good time for the Kucherov.
Yeah.
You know what the Kucherov is, right?
Well, which when you're talking about
The
from
Kucherov is
from that,
when when Kucherov does that shootout and he comes down like the road runner and he
right?
looks like he's going to snap off 100-mile shot and he just lets the puck dribble off his stick and
Oh, I
it
see what
goes
you're
five
saying.
hole.
Yeah, but it works because he has 100-mile-an-hour shot.
Yeah.
Chucky don't have it. You know what I mean? But look, regardless of how it went, we absolutely had to have. And um, what we did a couple things last night we haven't been doing, which you know that had all the markings of we got that early goal. It's 1-0, and normally we sit, we sit, and then by the end of the second period we're losing 2-1. So getting those goals at the end of the first period, that's unusual for the most part. And then when they scored to make it 3-1, you could kind of feel you knew 3-2 was coming any second now, and it didn't happen. And we got that fourth goal, and that's we haven't been doing that a whole lot this year. You
Well, that
know,
fourth goal was the Bennett goal, right? The power play.
yeah. Without Barkov, by the way.
Yeah. So Bob dishes it off to Montour.
Yep.
And Montour, does his thing, skating it up, dishes it off to Bennett. And Bennett goes in like nobody touches him.
Yeah, I think they were so shocked that he wasn't passing the puck because that's what we do. They
Yeah,
just
and that's another situation where Montour creates the screen in
yeah,
front. I thought it might have been like I thought at first maybe it was like a pick play,
right,
but Montour was way past,
right.
he was way past the goal and he had somebody on him.
Yeah,
So,
he had somebody on him, and they just kind of flew past him, and it made that space for Bennett to just slide
yeah,
on in.
and I love the
And
backhand.
let's
So,
be
yeah, it's
honest.
nice to see Bennett score.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah,
the game really was won with that dagger with 30 seconds left.
yeah,
I mean, I don't, there again, like I said in my text to Billy, like you got to play the whole period and you got to
yeah.
play the whole game. I mean, Edmonton really was just like waiting for the horn to go off to
Uh
go
huh.
into the dressing room for intermission, and
Yep.
they just didn't even. Wow.
And they're gonna learn a lesson here because a lot of times in the podcast they go over the standings and it's like they had won what 8, 7, 8, 9, however
Nine.
many yeah 9, and it ain't like they climbed all the way back into the playoffs and have a comfortable lead or something with that many. You know what I mean? Now they've lost 2 in a row, you know, and they were so far behind that. And these last 2 games; those are the scores you were seeing when they were playing poorly. You know what I mean? So no, I
Well,
see it. Um, but at some point in the third period, Goldie and Randy were both pointing out. I don't know what he did. I don't know if he was just being lazy or what, but they were both pointing out that basically the Edmonton coach needed to get on Draisaitl because the previous shift had been like what they said that wasn't a good shift. So I don't know if he was just loafing around out there or what, but
well, that's the second game in a row we shut him down.
right,
I mean, it's hard to shut McDavid down, but
he's just too good.
basically you shut McDavid down, you shut the Oilers down, and we had somebody on. He didn't get away with pulling his stuff that he normally does. Really, only once on that goal.
Right.
We were swarming on, just like with the Vancouver game, on guys on us.
Yeah.
Every time McDavid had the puck, there was somebody on him. And I
Yep.
also noticed every time he was coming into the zone, our guys were smacking him good.
Right. Yeah. And look,
So,
the other thing, and I know Montour had a good game, but it's funny because we were talking about this on the stream, and then Montour scored the goal. So there's that. But and we've said this before. I mean, Nico Mikkola. I mean, we need to sign Reinhardt first. You sign Reinhardt, and to be honest with you, unless Bill's secret plan is to trade Ekblad, and for all we know, that could be his secret plan. You know what I mean? Because We don't have to be under the cap this year. We have to be under the cap next year. So he can sign those guys for whatever the hell he wants if his secret plan is to trade Ekblad. I don't think that's going to happen. But as much as I love Montour, if you had to lose somebody between, I know some people think they'd rather lose Forsling. We can't lose Reinhart, but Mikkola, I think, could take Montour's place. And
Larson could take it, but
right.
I got news for you. Priority order: Forsling, Reinhart, Larson.
Well, I don't think Forsling is going to cost as much as we're concerned.
I hope not, even though he deserves it.
I don't think he's going to cost as much as.
I hope not.
You know what I mean?
I think Reinhardt's gonna he's making 6.5 now. You don't think he's gonna want to raise?
No, he is.
Maybe Zito will say, "Work with us here. We want to keep you. You want to stay here."
Right.
But obviously, I'm limited right now with what I can do. But I'm telling you, the guy that needs to go.
Yeah, well, they ain't never
the guy that I've been saying they can win without.
Right.
Is the guy on the injured list right now?
Right. Well, it's not even a matter of him playing poorly or anything like that. It's just really with Larson and Mikkola playing so well. I mean, it's tough because you kind of want to keep everybody, but Reinhardt's too important. To me, with this surplus of defensive players, you sign Reinhardt first because he's the one. He's going to want what's going to want the most money. You know what I mean? So you sign him first, and then you tell everybody else, if you want to stay, this is what I can give you. You know what I mean?
So you sign him like now, if you could, like
that. Yeah, that's what I would do. That's what I would do. I would just give him. I would just offer him up 8 times 8. And see if that's enough.
Well, if obviously they have to find a way to pull it off, but OEL is definitely showing signs of his glory days in Arizona.
Right.
I mean, the guy's just been super solid, and like I said, him and Forsling make a very formidable top pair. And Maurice is a schmuck if he breaks him up when and if who comes back.
Well, they said Ekblad was just simply out for precaution, because we got so many guys. I mean, why force him to play? Mahura needed to get on the ice anyway. You know what I mean? Yeah, and I don't want people to think I'm not ragging on Ekblad. He's been fine. He's not been bad. It's just a matter of monetarily, But yeah,
right.
Who knows? We don't know. I don't know what Bill's thinking. You know what I mean? And
we do know though, if he could trade Huberdeau, he could trade anybody.
Yeah. Oh no, there's no doubt about that.
So I don't think it's going to happen though. That's the thing that I'm kind of bummed out at. That I don't think it's going to. Would I like to see it happen? Yeah. Because I think we can, we've proven that we can win without him. And unfortunately, he's had enough games. I mean, granted, Montour finally scored last night, but Ekblad has shown me nothing since he's back. And he's making $7.5 million.
Right.
What do you think he's going to want when he re-signs?
Well, yeah, that's a whole nother.
He's going to want an 8-year deal. He's going to want to, I want to finish my career.
Right. Yeah. No, I know that's a whole nother thing to consider because around that same time you got to sign for Higgy
and Lundell.
No, Lundell's this year.
Okay.
Lundell's an RFA. He ain't going anywhere. Lundell's going to take what we give him. At this point, he doesn't have a choice because he doesn't have it. What's he going to do? Go to arbitration with his 3 goals? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's going to have to take what we and if Zito was smart, that's where he'll cut some corners. You know what I mean? And because like he didn't cut corners with Spencer Knight. You know what I mean? And look, OEL is on a 1-year deal. So
that's nice. As
You
I said,
know,
we got to
he,
resign. We got to find a way to re-sign him.
he's going to want a couple of dollars raised too. You know what I mean? It's like
Yep.
1.2 he's making or something. So I'm sure he's going to want to stay because this environment is helping him. You know what I mean? But I mean, if he continues to play like this, I mean, you got to at least give him 2.5 or 3. You know what I mean? You got to bump him up somewhere.
Isn't I thought that's what he was making.
Maybe I'm wrong. Keep
I thought he
talking.
was
Hey, good
making.
morning, Kenneth. Keep
I
talking.
thought he
I'll
was
look it up.
making 2.75.
I could be wrong. Oliver Ekman Larson contract. Talk to Tex actually took it. 1 year, 2.25. So you're
Okay.
right. It's 2.25.
Okay.
So okay. Why did I think it was? Maybe it was. Maybe it's Kulikov's deal. Who did I thought it was 1.
Don't forget, Vancouver bought him out.
Yeah. That's a good
That's
point.
the ultimate. That's the ultimate
Right.
like middle finger. A team
Right.
buys you out. You gotta still pay the guy,
Okay.
and then the guy signs with another team, and just goes banshee crazy and has a great year.
Yeah. So he won't need much. I mean, maybe you give him 2.5 or something instead of 2.25. But for some reason,
All
I
right.
thought he was 1.2. I guess that was somebody else.
All right, so everybody watching this video, besides hitting the like button, I want you to comment on. I want to hear some different opinions on the situation with Eggplant.
Well,
Do we, and the signings, I guess, in priority order.
Yeah.
So we got Reinhardt, Forsling, Montour, OEL, Lundell, Swaggy. What? We got another year?
We got another
2 years?
2 years on Swaggy, I believe. No. We got another year on Swaggy because Swaggy needs a contract before Bob's 10 million is gone.
Right. And what's Swaggy making?
Not very. I believe that's like 4.1 or let me see.
Yeah, I was going to say he can't.
Carter Verhaeghe contract.
He can't be making big bucks.
Carter Verhaeghe. Oh, there we go. Okay, let me get to it. I knew these numbers over the summer, but they've escaped me. 3 years, 12.5. So what's that, like 4.1? So
ridiculous.
I know.
He's getting at least $6 million next signing.
He's gonna by then he's gonna be like a 3 or 4 time 40 goal scorer. Six.
Yeah. Okay. I'm being conservative.
6. We wish, man.
I'm being wishful thinking.
That's what your girlfriend looked at you when she said 6. Come on, Stu. Yeah, no, man, we got issue. But
listen, if I gave my girlfriend 6 O's, I think she'd be pretty happy with that.
We got one year at a time. We're in cup now mode. You know what I mean? So
right, but we have have to start thinking about that.
No, I don't disagree.
Because it could drastically change the whole dynamic of the team.
Look, I mean, we don't know. Zito could be completely relaxed about it for all we know, and I don't think this is. I would be shocked. Let's put it this way. I would be shocked if this was the case. But he could have in the back of his mind either Ekblad or Spencer Knight is being traded, adios, and that solves the issues. I don't really necessarily think that.
Both.
Jeez.
That's $12 million.
It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. Because you do have to look forward to, guys like Verhaeghe. You know what I mean? So we'll see.
Again, you have to take in, if you're playing chess here, you have to play, 2 or 3 moves ahead. Like what happens, Bob's he's gonna be done in a year or so.
I'm gonna tell you something. I don't think so.
Okay.
Look, Luongo had the hip problem. But until that hip problem came up, if you look at his numbers when he was like 36, 37, I mean, his numbers were good, bro. I mean, his numbers were good.
Martin Brodeur.
Right.
but
So
still killing it at 40. Okay.
I'm not. I mean, Bob's getting better with age.
Okay.
I'm not ready to throw him out. I mean, if we can sign everybody else, and we can make that work, maybe he gets an extension and it's not 10 million a year. Maybe he says, I want to stay, and it takes 5 million to stay for 2 more years.
That would be nice.
It's gone in reverse. The first 2.5 years we were ready to throw his ass out the door.
Right.
And now I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, the $1 million question for me is, knowing that what we know now with Knight, is he going to be our number one going forward?
Well, look, Zito and Luongo created that goalie excellence program for a reason. The whole idea is every year, basically, to paraphrase, Luongo gets to pick, draft, and develop a goalie every year. So they've got this pipeline of kids. There's a reason for that. And, Knight's had a couple of shutouts. He's playing better in the AHL, but it's still just a couple of games. He's still kind of been inconsistent, and he's still very, very young, right? Like you said, look at how long it took Markstrom to develop, and he was on a team where he was getting a chance to constantly and consistently play. Here, I mean, every year that Bob does this, he's good. In other words, every year that he plays like this, he's coming back next year, the guaranteed starter. So we're already into next season. You know what I mean? In terms of why would you even, maybe you would throw Knight out there for a 50-50 split, but he doesn't seem to do too well under those circumstances. So I don't know, man. He's between what Talon did with Bob's contract and the no move clauses that he gave out, and then drafting Knight and then giving Knight that contract, between Talon and Zito and how we've had to build the team with free agents and waiver wire pickups that eventually you have to pay more because they're not RFAs like Lundell. We're in a pickle. You know what I mean? We've kind of put ourselves, but we're also, we could win a cup any moment, any second now. We could win a cup. So, to be honest with you,
that's another one for you guys to comment on, the Spencer Knight dilemma.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, after a performance like last night, and obviously like Bob in the playoffs.
Yeah. No. I mean,
one would think that he still has it.
Roberto Luongo statistics. I looked at this over the summer because I was looking at comparison to Bob's age and everything. And except for his last year, except for Luongo's last year when he was done, 2.47 and a 929 save percentage. And he was like 37 at that point. The year before, 2.68 and a 915. The year before, 235 and a 922. 235 and a 921. I mean, I could go on. I mean, until that hip gave out on him at the end. So if Bob stays healthy and doesn't have any, knock on wood, major injuries.
Yep.
I mean, so there's that. Imagine if he stayed a couple of years playing like this and he took an extension and cut his thing in half at $5 million. Imagine what we could, that would extend our cup window like big time.
That would be awesome. Listen, the bottom line is Bob got paid $70 million. Bob got paid. Does he need any more money? He's now probably
he does have a wife and kids, though. So I mean,
he's got the wife and kids. The wife is happy. She goes to Publix on a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
And they go
now,
to
when you have 70, I don't mean to cut you off, but it's a question. When you have 70 million, are you going to Publix on Sunday, or are you sending somebody to Publix on Sunday afternoon? When you have that much money, are you going to the store, or is somebody else going to the store for you?
Listen, so I'll tell you a funny story. So one Sunday when it's like right by my my place in Boca. It was Glazing 441. There was a Target there, probably still there. And I took the kids shopping on a Sunday morning, and I'm going down the aisle, and who's coming at me? Ole Jokinen and his kids.
Oh, okay.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
they they go out, they shop.
I'm just saying.
I know what you're.
I'm not so sure Bob's.
I know what you're.
having to
I know
trudge
what you're
around
saying,
Publix.
and that would be great if Bob took a major haircut to stay a couple of years.
Yeah,
That would be awesome.
yeah.
But let's not project, to the Bob situation. Yeah,
Well,
we
you
we
never
got,
know. I mean, if Zito's talking to all of these guys like we're talking about, laying out the chess pieces down the road, maybe that's a conversation Zito has with him and say, hey, are you done when this deal is done? Or do you want to, because he's getting better, right? So we'll see. We'll see. Just give me
interesting conversation.
Yeah.
Like we're not even talking about the game. We're talking
4
about
hours sleep, bro.
what's that?
I said we're on 4 hours sleep.
Yeah, but it's it's important to have the conversation because the season will be over before we know it, and there's definitely going to be a lot of pressure on Zito to make things happen.
The last thing I'll say about the whole thing about if we had to move a guy to make room, the one thing that Ekblad brings, or Spencer Knight, or Lundell, the one thing that any of those guys bring is that we could trade him and get assets in return. Otherwise, we're losing Reinhardt, Montour, or Forsling for Zippity Doodah because we ain't trading guys at the deadline. We're buying.
Right. I agree. And that's an important. It's something I mentioned either the last time or the time before that.
Right.
With trading Eggplant is getting some assets back.
Right. So.
And who would you go for? Who, if there was, obviously it was Zadorov for me, but that's out the window now.
So we talked about this in the stream. This is a good question. This is what I would do. I would go Lundell, Barkov, Reinhardt, Bennett, Kachuk for Hagee, Stenlin with Rodriguez and Luosterainen, and I would go buy a really good fourth line beast of a center for the playoffs to replace Lorentz. That's what I would do.
Okay.
Because we sure as hell don't need defensemen.
Nope.
That we don't need. So nope. that's what I would do.
You're right. We need a big, tough guy that's strong on the face-off.
Or the other part to that I mentioned last night, you just call up Eric Stahl and say, bro, be ready game 60. Click. I mean, he could give us 20 games plus the playoffs. He's available.
I actually was thinking Jordan Stahl, but that's funny. Not that we would be able to get the captain of the Hurricanes.
Yeah, I don't think they're getting rid of him. But, he never retired. He's just hanging around. I don't know if he's training or if maybe he's doing Bob's wife shopping on Sundays just to stay in contact with the team. I don't know. Pick up an extra buck, Hey, Bob, come on, man. I only made like $1 million last year. Give me some work. You know what I mean? He's around the house fixing things. We don't even know it.
All right. So before we end, let's talk about Calgary.
Oh, yeah. Jeez. Nothing. We have to win that game. That's all I can say. I'd like to see Kachuk score a goal, obviously, but we know Uyghur's going to score a goal. I think he's got like 8 now. So we know Uyghur's going to score.
And Huberdeau's going to want to score badly.
I know.
So, the way I look at that game, we can't lose to Calgary.
No.
You're right. It's a must game. Game because if we win the game, then we finish the roadie 3-2.
Right.
Which is not kind of. Billy told me he would take a 3-2 road trip.
Yeah.
And be happy with that.
Right.
But it would be good to end the road trip on a win. 2 disgusting losses followed by 2 solid wins. I think you and I both agreed last night that Stolars would probably be in.
Right.
I don't know if that's going to happen, but I'd be okay with that if we get the Dr. Jekyll Stolars and not the Mr. Hyde Stolars.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, good win last night, guys.
Yep.
Good
All right.
win.
All right. That's gonna do it. I haven't even gotten the dogs outside yet. Because he's outside at 2 in the morning when the recap's done taking a leak, so he can hold it. So I gotta eat, I gotta feed them, and I gotta go back to sleep and wake up. Kyle and I will be live at 12:45 with the Dolphins and Jets. So there's that. And I'm going to have a surprise video out tomorrow. Yes. Monday? Yes. But it's secret. It's a secret. I can't tell anybody what it is. So, all right, everybody. Thank you all for joining us this morning. Appreciate all the support. And we'll see you again later.